Want to keep up with the latest LEGO Maker 96.1 videos? Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Hello everyone, LEGO Maker 96.1 here, also known as LEGO Maker Gaming, here with another video. And for today's video, I'll be doing a commentary on the DLC version of Minecraft of the Magic Kingdom on the Xbox One. Now for the first commentary video I'll be doing, if you're looking right ahead of you, that is the Haunted Mansion. Now the Haunted Mansion is one of my all-time favorite attractions of Disney. I mean, who doesn't love the Haunted Mansion? It's got a creepy atmosphere to it. It's got a gothic style manner to it. When in Florida, the one in Anaheim is based on a antebellum mansion. And overall, it's pretty spectacular. Now for the Haunted Mansion as a whole, I love this attraction. In the beginning, I was scared of it, but without a shadow of a doubt, it's one of my favorite attractions now, in which I've done a full video of the Haunted Mansion. It's one of my favorite attractions and on my YouTube channel, which you can check it out in the description below, so that way you can see it. But first, right off the bat, right here, this is Memento Mori. Translated in Latin, or in English, it means remember the dead. This right here, this is the gift shop to the Haunted Mansion. I've been inside it myself when I was in Florida the last time I was here. It's got really cool stuff inside, and I highly recommend you check the store out. And to whoever made this DLC, you really did an awesome job on modeling the entire Disney park as a whole. If anything, you should do Disneyland next or Epcot when you get a chance. It is a really cool DLC. Now, if you haven't got the DLC, I highly recommend you get it. It is really good. Now, onward to the mansion. Now, the mansion itself, the exterior of it is based on the Harry Packer Mansion in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, which I've been myself. And no, I haven't been inside the Harry Packer Mansion. I've seen the interior of it, and when I loaded up the website after my trip to Jim Thorpe, and I gotta say, it's really spectacular. And oddly enough, when developing the Magic Kingdom in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Disney Imagineers actually traveled to Jim Thorpe, and they got ideas from the Harry Packer Mansion. Now, in the beginning, I was scared of the attraction when I went down in 2007, but in 2010, I rode it. I love it. And in 2013, I rode it again. 16, I rode it again. And maybe sometime this year or maybe next year, I will ride the Haunted Mansion again. Maybe. Now, the layout of the mansion, it's pretty spectacular. I've seen a lot of YouTubers who recreated this iconic attraction, and they did a really awesome job on it. And I really love the design of the sign as well. I mean, that is pretty spectacular. That kind of reminds me of Vincent Price. Now, overall, this is a pretty awesome queue here. But now, if you haven't, you're given two options here. You are to take the Fast Pass entranceway to the mansion, or you want to check out the interactive queue. Now, I've been through the interactive queue, and it's pretty immersive. It's like tied into the mansion. Now, the first right here, this is the Who Killed Who bus. The Dread family. This will help you out to see who killed who. Kind of reminds me of the movie Clue here. In the movie Clue, which one's your favorite ending? A, B, or C? Now, all throughout the graveyard here, all throughout the queue, this is to pay homage to the Imagineers who worked on the development of the attraction, like Exitenzio, Yale Gracie, Paul Frees, and so on and so forth. Clark Coates, Mark Davis, everyone. Now, the next right here is an organ. It's like modeled after the organ from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I have not seen. It's based off the foyer. It is based off the organ in the ballroom, both in Anaheim, Tokyo, and in Florida. It's based. It was the prop of the organ was actually used from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, in which I've never seen, as I stated earlier. Now, that's the reason why for all this bookshelves here, or this was for somehow the books some keep popping out. He had to put them back in, and right here was where this woman was writing down poems to help her solve the poems for which she's writing. Oh, little pro tip: if you look right here, if you go to a Disney park next time, if you look right down here, that is where Constance Hatchaway's ring is. And there's a pretty interesting story behind it. Now, the story goes, one of the poles that was used before this interactive queue existed, there was this pole right here, which one Imagineer was trying to get up, but it somehow broke off, and now it's kind of stuck there. And guests, as they go through, they're like, "Hey, that's Constance's wedding ring." So what they did, when he redid all this here, or they must have carved out that pole to make it look like an actual wedding ring. What you guys say? It's pretty impressive. Now here's the rest of the tombstones. That one right there is Madame Leota. Dear sweet Leota, beloved by all, and ready to be on now, but having a ball. Now that's a pretty cool tombstone. And all around right here, there's some like Cousin Dave, even many others. It's pretty impressive. I'm jumping right into the mansion. There's Paul Frees himself. And there's the man himself, Edward Gracie, or the aging man as he is known. Now the reason why they have this all set up is because when developing the Magic Kingdom, they made duplicates of everything, so that way when the Magic Kingdom opens, everything is there. And oh, wow. Thank you for having me. Now there's a difference between the Anaheim elevator and the Florida elevator, or the Portrait Gallery. Now in Anaheim it's basically an elevator because the railroad is basically right behind the stretching portraits, or the show building is right behind the railroad. Now for the Orlando mansion, they didn't have to worry about the railroad. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? Interesting facts. Now all this here, now the portraits here, they were all done by Mark Davis. If you saw the 1965 special of Disneyland's 10th anniversary, all these portraits here, they were done by Mark Davis himself. In fact, you can find it in a Haunted Mansion book, which goes over the history of the Haunted Mansion, including the stuff behind all this. And that one right here, that's Walt's favorite, right there. There's actually a story behind it because that is George Hightower, the one Constance Hatchaway killed for Tokyo Disneyland in Paris. Not Tokyo Disneyland Paris, Tokyo Disneyland in Japan. My apologies to all those in France and Japan. I apologize. Won't happen again. This looks amazing. Now, if you look at the wallpaper when you ride through the attraction or when you walk through the attraction, the wallpaper counts as ghosts. And earlier when I said walk through, the Haunted Mansion was going to be a walkthrough style of attraction, but it changed to a ride-through system because it was all due to the 1964-65 New York World's Fair that introduced the Omnimover system, like Ford's Magic Skyway, Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln, the Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, just to name a few. And it also advanced in audio animatronics. Yeah, if it wasn't due to the 1964-65 New York World's Fair, we wouldn't have the Haunted Mansion and many other attractions that has to do with animatronics. Now the Doom Buggy I really like because it's like modeled after the Omnimover system for Journey Through Inner Space. Oh hi Medusa, that was also done by Mark Davis. The portrait, not the attraction. Now that is pretty awesome. Does that include A Christmas Carol? Because that counts as a ghost story for Christmas. Shouldn't that be for audio later? But then again, I digress. I also love the effects in that right here. Look at the detail. I gotta tell you, bud, you and your friends who developed and worked on this attraction, you really did an awesome job on recreating this iconic attraction and many other attractions in the Magic Kingdom in Florida. That is awesome of you. Oh, we're coming up into my... This is pretty cool. Like, they recreated the endless hallway right here. And today, right here, that's where the Hatbox Ghost is. And to be honest, I don't have a problem with a Hatbox Ghost is situated right now in the Haunted Mansion in Florida. But in Anaheim is a whole other story because it tied into a music video or story and song from the Haunted Mansion. And a soundtrack which they did to promote the Haunted Mansion's opening in 1969. And how do I know this? Because Ron Howard was in that special. And also Exitensio did the voice for that coffin right there. Now, if you haven't heard of Exitensio, he's the guy who wrote a lot of... Oh, I'm sorry, was I talking? Because I'm pretty sure I was talking. Now, as I said, I was so rudely... You know what? I'm just going to shut up right here because I'm in the middle of going over facts and you goats are screaming your head off like bloody murder. Now, as I was saying, Exitensio wrote a lot of iconic songs for Disney. He wrote A Pirate's Life for Me for Pirates of the Caribbean, which is also my favorite attraction, Grim Grinning Ghosts, and many others. Hello, Leota. Now, here's an interesting fact. The face is that of Leota Toombs, one of the Imagineers who worked on the attraction, but the voice is done by Eleanor Audley. Now, if the name doesn't sound familiar to you, she's the voice of Lady Tremaine in Cinderella, the animated version from the late 40s, early 50s, and Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty, the animated version, and many other characters along the way. Interesting fact. Now this is pretty awesome. Recreating the ballroom right here, this is spectacular. Now, interesting fact, the effect they used for the ballroom here, this was all done by Pepper's Ghost. Now, Pepper's Ghost was an illusion that dates back to 1862 by an English professor by the name of John Pepper. Now, in order to achieve that effect, you gotta have like a blackened room. You gotta place whatever object you use. You place like a mirror here, you gotta angle it, and when you shine that light through, you get like a reflection of a ghost. and that effect is still being used today. Now that's a pretty cool right here. An actual projection of Constance Hatchaway, but here they made her into an actual animatronic. That is pretty awesome. But if it was me for the Hatbox Ghost for Florida, they would have moved him to the attic because, well, it ties into the attraction. But the way that he is now, because it all has to do with the 2003 film, Disney's Haunted Mansion, which I have seen, and which I did a review on it, and I gotta say, I love that movie. A lot of Easter eggs to pay homage to the attraction and those who worked on the attraction. And what I mean by Easter eggs, it all has they're sort of like nods to those who worked on the attraction. Oh, for the ballroom, not for the ballroom, for the graveyard, and well, for the portrait gallery, all this was done by a scrim. It is like a see-through like canvas, which was used for any kind of attraction. It's like if you ride a Phantom Theater in Kings Island, and I've never seen it myself. I mean, I've seen videos, but I've never been to Kings Island. You'll see what I'm talking about. For the Marble Buzz back there, as you saw earlier, there was Thurl Ravenscroft and the Mellow Men. They've done a lot of work over the years. Now, Thurl Ravenscroft, for those who don't know, he was the singing voice in Pirates. He was the singing voice for the Phantom, for the singing bus. And if you watch Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the 60s, he did the singing voice for Your Me One Mr. Grinch. Ah, there are my boys, Phineas, Ezra, and Gus. The famous hitchhiking ghosts. What? Oh, that's great. I could talk to these guys. Oh, hey, Leota. Now, the reason why there's extra scenes here for the mansion in Florida is because, as I said earlier, they made duplicates of everything, and Paul Frees actually came back and recorded some extra dialogue for the mansion in Florida to tie in into the attraction. I mean, if the Haunted Mansion does get a remodel, if they extended it more of the mansion ride, they should include those scenes. But what we got is what we got, and I have no issue with it. Now, as we exit the attraction, we will hear a reprise of Grim Grinning Ghosts telling us to come back and to join the Jamboree. Now, after we exit the attraction, there are two zones here, like this one here belong to Bluebeard's brides, his wives. Now, I've never read Bluebeard. I've heard about it, but I never actually read the book, but I've heard about it. And right over here, there's like sort of homage to some of the funny, like I'm Truly Dead, Poltergeist. It's a lot of funny gags here. Now, right over here is where a hearse should be, because this could be used for a photo op for real life. Now, interesting fact for the one in Anaheim about the hearse, because the hearse is said to believe belonged to a Mormon by the name of Brigham Young. It was actually used in a John Wayne movie, but when Disney purchased the hearse, they were going to use it for a proposed Indiana Jones attraction, but that never came into fruition. So they brought the hearse, was left in front of the mansion, decorated to make it look like a ghost horse is pulling that hearse. And right up here, in real life, this is where the animal graveyard is. And if you look right up here in real life, where Steve is looking, right up there is Mr. Toad's. Now, earlier when when Walt Disney World opened up, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was in Fantasyland. But when they closed the attraction to replace it with Winnie the Pooh, well, Mr. Toad's monument was right here. And now since Splash Mountain is gone, do you think they'll put Brer Rabbit right there? And maybe Brer Fox and Brer Bear? But then again, that's me. So that's my commentary and my facts on the Haunted Mansion and the DLC version of Minecraft's Magic Kingdom for Walt Disney World. It's pretty awesome. And whoever did this, you really did an awesome job on it, bud. You deserve an A+ in my book. Now, a little heads up, I play Minecraft once in a blue moon, or sometimes, not once in a blue moon. And I can't mod and can't do creations of all this. I mean, some of my building skills is a little 50-50. But overall, this is a really cool DLC, and that right there is a really cool ride, and I highly recommend you ride a Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom in Florida, Walt's original Magic Kingdom in Anaheim, the one in Tokyo, and its sister location Phantom Manor in Paris, and Mystic Manor in Hong Kong Disneyland. And like I said, it's a really cool attraction. This is a really cool recreation. Now, if you haven't got the DLC, I highly recommend you get it, because this is pretty awesome. And for that, I clap for it. And, yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Well, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, please feel free to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notifications so that way you can be notified when I upload the next video. And as always, this is LEGO Maker 96.1, aka LEGO Maker Gaming, signing off.